beat SKT.
They were 4-2 up on SKT in games. You know what it is now? Even. Yeah, you know what SKT don't want it to be? Anything but that. Here's game 3. SKT back on the blue side. Not that it really seems to matter. The presence, the aggression, and just the strength of this draft from SKT has been amazing so far. Zyra Syndra for one. There's the K-Ban though from Flash Wolves.
I mean, Flash Wolves are just trying different things. They've realized on both sides they don't have the answers. They have to ban the Caitlyn because they don't want to return to the comp from game 1. That means I imagine they're going to leave up the Ivern, which, again, Peanut got through the game on, but certainly wasn't convincing on.
Ivern's still a super strong pick. You wouldn't fault Peanut for playing it again because they were able to pull that game out. Very similar, I feel like, to what Flash was tried to ban last game. The question is, do they also throw a Fiora ban out here? Instead, they go with Casio. If you go with what beats you. That means there's a lot of other things still up.
And the other interesting thing is, remember, both shielding supports and Ivern are up. So while Flash Wolves are not expected to go all in on Betty when it comes to a hyper carry, you definitely take away the karma to deny the 2 from SKT. And look, it looks like they'll just have to take the Ivern because of the potential of SKT.
And the first 2 picks were exactly the same as in game 1. In that game 1, Karsa took Graves and Peanut took Ivern. So Flash Wolves trying to flip the script a little bit on that, but it is much different to support Bang, a 3-time world champion, or Betty, a player who's having his first split with the Flash Wolves.
I mean, you're confident on Betty on Twitch, I say on Ashe, but certainly not the Twitch or the sort of champions that you're looking for to fit in, and the Twitch is going to be selected by SKT.
I was going to say, our confidence in Twitch does rest very firmly with Bang, and SKT will take it quite early in this draft again, pairing it with the Lulu. He's going to flash it at least. We'll see if he wants to commit to
locked in, I believe.
A champion that did.
That's it.
Oh yeah, all right. We're good. Time for ban phase number 2.
Maple has been spamming it in solo queue for sure, but we also have to keep in mind SKT can always play Nami and throw the Lulu in the mid lane. This is that's an exact composition they played in the LCK finals against KT Rolster, so that's always an ability that they have.
It sounds like a pretty comfortable lane for Lucian, though, against the Lulu. So we've seen Faker kind of pick for comp and take the Orianna, thinking, okay, I'll get blue buff, I can just push and get out of lane, get solo killed, get pressured in the early game, and never get to that point. So I'm really curious for Faker to show us what the pick is against Lucian. I think everyone has a different opinion on a pick that could work. Say, for example, Fizz and go all in. There's many different ideas about what can work, but I want to know what Faker wants.
Well, Fizz is banned, and Shen and Fiora will be banned by the Flash Wolves as well. I'm not going to lie to you, I just want to see him play LeBlanc.
It's a possibility, right?
Already disrespected Maple with the largest CS lead in MSI history. He's got a game to give if they really have to. Just show off.
From memory, he hasn't played it on the international stage since the MSI final 2 years ago, where famously EDG had the exact tonic to end the undefeated record for Faker. So it is certainly possible, and you have to imagine that Maple's not chomping at the bits to play it 3 games in a row.
Definitely not. The question now for Flash Wolves is, where does their top lane and marksman pick fall? They have so much shielding, they could play the Kog'Maw into the Twitch. It was unbanned for them. Or they could just build more tankiness around it. The Galio is a very powerful pick for them.
Looks like it'll be a disengaged Galio, though, a defensive Galio rather than the diving Galio we saw for the Gigabyte Marines. So I feel like the reliability there may actually be up in the air. And remember, SKT have long-range artillery of their own. Might even be locking in another one to complement the Twitch.
And there are a lot of top laners banned in the second phase. Fiora, Shen, and even Gragas by SKT, kind of almost baiting him into the Galio pick. But there's a Rumble, and Faker might just go back to the matchup he lost last time.
Yeah. Watching the early game of the match against Team WE, Faker was so close to turning that around on Lucian, and then he got styled on by Xie's Lucian for the rest of the game, so he wants a do-over on that one. It could also be another one of those situations where SKT is now up 2-0, so they want to save whatever reveal they would have for the next game. When they're up, they pick Orianna against everything and just rely on Faker to be good.
And I think that's kind of the logic that I'll follow, because I talked to a couple of mid laners at this tournament about where Orianna works, and they say, okay, level 7 with blue buff, you can push and leave, and it's fine. But the moment the blue buff goes away, the matchup once again becomes Struggle Street. This is a matchup where Maple could find a way to run over Faker just like Xie did. But it's just a very different context. 2 games down, getting styled upon so much in game 2. Maple needs to channel his reputation, channel all his resources to not allow himself to be taken down by Faker, because the Orianna pick does feel like a style pick.
Well, it's not the LeBlanc I wanted, but again, Faker already lost on it. He's just going to say, you know what? You can have this, and if you win, maybe you get something else here. But Lucian has only shown up once this tournament. It was kind of the big pick that we were expecting to see, and maybe a lot of different places.
Yeah, everyone definitely made sure to polish it after what they saw GA do on it in the last day of the group stage. They were playing it a lot coming in, but now we're pulling it out in an important, meaningful game.
And you look down both teams and you look for Initiator, really isn't one. You know, honestly, it's two kite-back comps to great degree. Feels like the Rumble ultimate will be to control space. You don't have a lot to capitalize on. There's no ball carrier. This is the snowball draft. This is very much about kiting back, controlling objectives. Feels like the team with the jungle control will have so much power because they can dictate where the fights occur.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot of sieging and potentially a lot of objective trading. This is a style that I feel like SKT has really pioneered more than other teams. Incredibly low initiation, but that does not mean they're unwilling to do things. So very difficult for Flash Wolves to catch up on, because normally the answer to that, if they're taking low initiation, is just pick a bunch of initiation and try and get them, but Flash was gone with a different style.
I mean, as you say, SKT have been known about this comp for the longest time. I actually cast my mind back to the Telecom Wars this season, because it was KT who were definitely going more this route at a time when more teams are going traditional tank top, teleport bot lane when the wave crashes, take turrets. KT definitely were following this sort of style, and it's interesting to see SKT bring back an old comp, put their own spin on it. But the fact that there's no ball carry, this definitely is a sort of draft that I saw from SKT in their losses twice in the group stage. To me, it doesn't have a lot of identity apart from, hey, there's a shield for Bang. If he gets ahead, he can rush up with a shield and do a lot of work. But no initiation on 10 champions is kind of a surreal world.
Well, I said that Flash Wolves were pushed to the limit after Game 2 ended. This is a Herculean task to run it back 3 straight versus the best team in the world, but that's what Flash was going to have to do. First, they can try and keep that game record alive, but they want to keep this series alive.
MMD will be allowed to itemize very favorably. Of course, still has some magic resist scaling on that passive, so we'll be able to stack magic resist against Rumble and Orianna, who will likely find inside lanes. Of course, Twitch will do plenty of damage, but at least when it comes to first purchases, they'll feel pretty good for MMD.
Yeah, triple Dorans to Spectre's Cal, the expected choice for Galio. Watching Karsa's jungle path as well. Curious how he's going to do it here. If he runs over to blue, smites it, and then preps the Gromp and the Wolves, that's a fairly standard route. I've seen a lot more of the fast clear Iverns actually start by channeling and smiting blue. That's the fastest path to level 4, but obviously scared of Peanut doing some type of invade to take his red buff right at the start.
Yep, the Ivern buff to buff effectively here. Marks the red and then goes in. Here's Peanut actually with a level 2 link, and Maple already dashed in. Faker just walking forward. Now I think Maple knows what's up. Damage area is going to be forced to flash and heal to get out.
Use so much to get out from the gank. You do have that flexibility on the Graves to look for a level 3 gank. Level 3 doesn't change things much as top lane, trading's already begun.
MMD thankfully hit 2 fast enough.
The one buff, the one camp gank from Peanut, trying to flip the script on Faker's mid-lane Ori versus Lucian matchup a little bit. Getting those summoners out will definitely improve Faker's chances.
Worth noting also, we didn't mention in Champions League, it is Karsa's first ever competitive game on Ivern. So both he and Peanut in this tournament, fitness tournament, have picked it up. And speaking of Karsa,
now Karsa looking for a hit, but Faker does have the subs, already flashes out of the way, but
they have the angle on him.
Faker just has to keep running. Bot lane's pushing. That's bad news.
Ezreal or Karma could collapse onto Faker. He is dead.
Maple wants to try and take it down, but Faker's going to buy as much time as he can. Faker still has a barrier. Might just hold a root collar land, and first blood goes to Maple.
Oh, we've seen this story before. Mid lane Lucian gets the first blood. Doesn't have Ignite this time, but that is not what Faker wanted for the return gank from Karsa.
I mean, if you want a champion that can get a kill on Orianna or on Faker pre-6, seems like Lucian's the champion for you, given that we saw this multiple times in the last series.
Bot lane aggression once more, though. Benny and Sword would love to play up. Bang, forced him in the heal. Exhaust already done. As now they turn their attention on the Wolf. He's ignited down. The Thunderlord procced him from the Karma, but Wolf is barely going to live through the onslaught. Yeah,
all combat summoners aside from Flash burn in that bottom lane, so Flash is going to continue to try and keep that shoved in with the Karma. Do want to call out some great play by Karsa during this gank. He forces Faker down towards the river, but then not only does he get the slow, or about to get the slow from his shield, but he forces Faker to flash down instead of up.
I mean, it was a zoning flash in many ways, because the shield, of course, would have provided the slow, but it just wasn't terrain he could move towards. You called it out, pastry time. There was priority for Flash Wolves in the bot lane. Nowhere to go. Very well reasoned play by the Flash Wolves in their first Nice advantage, and you can see Faker's frustration. It was inevitable from the moment he couldn't go to his turret.
And I really do feel like Orianna is not his preferred pick into the Lucian, but they're doing it again because they want to save something. It is a, let's call it a gut feeling after watching enough SKT doing this, because we've seen he doesn't hold a natural edge over Lucian. We know the matchup when he throws his ball out, Lucian can dash and avoid the damage, so it is a difficult thing he's picked himself into.
But and picking for comp is kind of a weird thing to say when there's no ball carrier. You could say picking for guaranteed wave pushing, yes, absolutely. But given they've been playing this skirmish style and they really can't force much, I tend to agree with you, Jack. It feels like that's the only zero-sum explanation. Maybe we need an interview with Faker and get him to clarify it after the tournament.
Andre will give away his secrets. He is quite the magician after all. MMD TPing back to that top side, though. Huni burns down the wave and will likely match and rejoin the wave. Tier also up for Betty. So that's kind of first early items coming out. But once again, Flash was off to an early, but a very slim lead.
Yeah, and they do have some nice scaling when you consider the Lucian and Ezreal coming in with the double shielder. So it's not that exactly same type where SKT can just group up around 20 or 30 minutes and automatically win. It could happen that way if they land the right spells, but it's not the same level of discrepancy in scaling.
Without the Force, though, I feel like the game will be largely judged on vision. You know, vision is the big factor. We've talked about the Flash Force did have the advantage on very much in history as trading continues in bot lane. You imagine they're going to disengage, but here we go.
A little support or combo, but Betty tunked out on the other side. Castle, he's actually joined in now. Wolf going to get rooted and be forced to flash. Rootcaller goes a little wide, dashes to a minion. I think he's trying to get out of the way, but Castle taking too much damage. Bang gets a kill in a 2v3. Peanut going to join the party. Betty zooms out of the way. He's got his flash, forced to burn it there, but now Sorta took damage on the back end. No die from Peanut, but so much force.
It looked so good at the start for Flash Wars with the positioning, but Karsa takes a turret shot and another inexperienced Ivern player kind of used everything in his kit and just ate free damage when Twitch and Lulu turned.
Yeah, that was the thing you would see from a player playing their first Ivern game on stage. A lot of times you feel invulnerable, but you're definitely not this early on into the game. So watching it one more time, Flash was really allowing the poison to tick on too long and losing these trades, and then Karsa doesn't have any damage in that situation, takes a Turk shot, and by this point it's over.
And many champions, many junglers entering at that angle will have kill pressure. So many of them in the meta. Ivern is one of the unique that does it. He missed his abilities, took a turret shot, and he seemed to, from the face cam show, that it was kind of inevitable what unfolded.
Yeah, frustrating there for Castle, who really is the heart of this team in so many ways. Always happy when they're ahead and frustrated when they lose.
I mean, Karsa had the highest first blood percentage of any jungler in the tournament, so he was certainly performing. Ironically, the highest first blood percentage on SKT is actually Huni, just from getting solo kills. It isn't from the jungle at all, so certainly has been more about the counter ganking for Peanut. He has had plenty of kills, but not necessarily first blood.
Botlane just keeps fighting though. Bang and Wolf in another 2v2, Exhaust is down. Bang getting chunked, and needs to get a little further forward. Bang taking a little too much damage. Tries to launch out of the way, but Betty, oh my god, missing shot. Bang, dodging it, the heal is up. Cast gets down, and Betty not gonna get it. Bang!
The outplay right there by Bang and Wolf.
Peanut to put the exclamation point as well. And Flash Wars game plan in Game 1 and Game 3 was to take the fights. You're taking fights against a double World Championship bot lane. And once again, outplayed.
They landed enough poke on a Bang early, but he lost vision when he went down into that brush. They missed the Mystic shot. The control ward delayed. That allowed Wolf's shields to come back up. I mean, SKT knew exactly what they were doing to get every little bit of damage and health out of this exchange.
You get to see the replay. I think it was very much the Q hitting in the midpoint here. You wait for it, Sword Art kind of threads it through. And then you're like, all right, maybe this is the trade here for Betty and Sword Art to win. He flashes out though, and think of how much damage he loses in the 3 seconds or so around the brush.
Exactly, the fatal damage could have come through in there. Karsa.
He's gonna burn down, already dies. Faker actually gets the kill. Shockwave gonna miss, that's a round 1, but MMD in there, Peanut also invading. All the cams are getting marked, but they'll get taken soon.
SKT starting to take over. Ivern down, make him waste time with that channel on the red buff. Peanut has smite, so MMD could try to disrupt this, but not gonna happen. And going back to that bottom lane 2v2, this is one of the problems about playing against SKT is not only do they have the reputation of this amazing team, they're also the best mechanical players, so even in the individual moments, they will be able to outplay.
Peanut's got ulti, so Maple maybe not gonna live. Does have Summoners, gets the culling back down. Peanut answers with his own ultimate. just to get Maple out of the way. Does disengage successfully, but now Wolf may be caught Sword Art. Sword Art going to have to use that blasting cone. No, hold on to it for now, gets the ward down instead, but Wolf instantly sweeps it away.
When you're casting SKT games, you have to look deep for adjectives to describe Snowball. Cavalcade of objectives, Snowball. Feels like we need more terms because things really do ramp up. Huni opening up on Carson with Faker as backup. He's happy to go in.
Yeah, giving Carson no way out after he flashed directly over.
Oh, but he landed. MMD, though, gets the Windsor ball back. Peanut's also up here. You have to think something's going wrong. MMD might not have the luxury of getting out in time, but he moves away from the turret. Gonna try and get one more wave, and SKT did actually pull away. The MMD will live this time.
Yeah, and even with triple Dorans, though, getting pushed out of the lane, that's one of Galio's stronger points on the map. And even with that mid lane first blood coming through, that's about all that has happened. Now Carson getting jumped on.
Bang, another ambush started up. RuPaul is going to land for the stun. Huni, though, keeping around for a kill. Bang's going to get another one.
This is just SKT adding insult to injury right there. He got in there. You're wondering, where did he come from? It was clearly the teleport, but Bang disappearing from bottom because they've been able to push that up. Huni pushed up the top lane, and they cascade the pressure through to the rest of the map.
I don't feel like either of these junglers are going to be favoring the Ivern too much. Both of them have felt some pain. Game 1 and Game 3 respectively. Getting collapsed on. Again, we talk about the Twitch, this time with Lulu and Orianna. But a stylistic choice that we only saw Bang play for the first time this season in the grand final is frequently showing itself to have to be a ban because they play around pressure better than any other team in the world.
And they play around pressure as their form of initiation, because we often look at these team compositions and say they have little to no initiation. They have to land Shockwave, or they have to get, you know, Lulu flashing in to knock someone up. But no, they just need to get enough pressure to get wards behind people and then use angles. Notice how Bang staying camouflaged on the side of the lane, waiting for Betty to push up. Again, forcing the Arcane shift back. They manufacture fights.
Maple back in, but Faker here with the barrier flash and the Shockwave. Maple gonna flash it. Really wants to go in, but Peanut into defend already. He'll get burnt. Peanut, huge damage and Faker shuts it down with a dissonance.
The ball location was the last thing you were thinking about when Faker had to use the barrier, but it was actually still in range. Snapped it over to Maple, and the all-ins that were working for Chia suddenly are not working for Flash Wolves.
Just awesome Orianna play, I feel like, from Faker, because so often you just want to shield yourself in those situations and the ball goes so far away from the fight. But Faker managed to get it behind Maple and just leave it there, totally surprising him for that final kill. Can't wait to see it in the replay.
Credit to Peanut for another great counter gank as well, but you can kind of see the difference between an Orianna that's now ahead and a Graves forcing against a Lucian mid and an Ivern. This is kind of that point where it gets rough in the matchup.
And you see the all-in, you're like, okay, this worked really well for Shia. What's going to happen? What's out the ult? Notice that he uses barrier and not command protect. He just walks back into range, uses W, Thunderlord's proc. He could have used command protect at any point.
Yeah. That's actually gorgeous because he was too far away to use his Q. He couldn't move the ball anywhere further forward, so he actually just waited for Maple to walk next to it, cast his dissonance, and got the last hit. That's something you only get after so many games on Orianna.
And look, I love to get into the Faker stats. It is his most played champion, so he certainly has his eye in, even though some of the performances this tournament have thus left a bit to be desired. But even the laning matchup that Maple probably felt pretty confident about when he saw the Orianna pick again, it's not reaping rewards for Flash Wolves.
All right, well, it's no game 2. SKT have built a sizable lead already, 13 minutes in. 3,000 gold up, 6-1 up in kills, and the turrets are still looking healthy-ish on the side of Flash Wolves. You have to think again, SKT know how to move themselves around the map, take their first turret kill, knock down multiple turrets in a row, and if that happened, Flash Wolves are just too far behind to really recover in the mid-game.
Yeah, and there's the standing gold is what's preventing this lead from being the same level that it was in Game 2, and the standing gold refers to the outer turrets in every single lane. Mountain Drake is up. The pressure has been acquired by SKT right there. They have the deep vision into Flash Wolves jungle, and they can get that Mountain Drake and then potentially push up for those turrets.
And it's just, again, that using pressure as a form of initiation that you can kind of see from SKT. Look how far back the members of Flash Wolves are forcing to play. This is kind of that brilliance and the elegance in SKT's play that is very difficult to understand just looking at it. But when we see games play out time and time again the same way, you have to look a little further, and when you do, you just see the beauty.
And it's not played without risk. They were making that play before Huni's teleport came up. MMD was hanging back because he had teleport of his own, but it's all about windows. It's all about knowing how much aggression you can show in the context of the 14 minutes that have occurred before you push up and threaten to dive. And when it's within 30 seconds of a teleport coming up, you may have a timer, but you start to doubt yourself.
Yeah, and even now when they have full control ward vision of the river, they're not immediately going over to Drake. They're hoping to just keep chipping away on that bottom side, waiting for Flash Wolves to overcommit. They could also be waiting for their soul lanes to hit level 11 because they hit such tremendous power spikes when compared to what the Galio and Lucian hit at level 12.
Flash is spawned while in the goodbye, Maple! There's your initiation, Jet!
Hey, we talked about getting next to someone in Lulu thing. That's one way. Oh my goodness.
He smelled blood. You know, he had the Ivern game. He's working out his frustrations, flashing into melee range of an Orianna.
I think Fang's going to turn it maybe back around. Shield the good, the redemption down to his Carter, actually. That was his redemption that maybe got it done, but another flash from Bang. Betty desperately trying to finalize a kill, but no case will be closed today. Bang will escape with his gold, and there's Faker. First turret gold solo.
Well, we said Orianna was probably not his preferred pick against Lucian. You never know. You could be fooled with his performance in this game after giving up first blood and the help of his team really putting Maple down in that mid lane.
I mean, you understand the theory behind why he's picking it. You can question it based on theory. You can speak to other mid laners, but I think this is the don't try this at home sign that goes up. You see the Lucian mid lane in solo queue. I'm not sure Orianna is the tonic, but if played well and with the windows you do have when you have blue buff, when you hit level 9, the matchup can swing.
And that's one of the things about Faker, is he changes the rules of the game a lot of the time.
I mean, Peanut did some changes here too.
Yeah, that was just unfair feeling. Faker might have gotten an assist right there.
So.
But just thinking about the game 2, where he picked Cassiopeia into the block. LeBlanc is pretty much the most banned champion coming in here. When people prepare the counter picks, they're thinking, okay, I can play maybe Ryze against it sometimes, or I pick a big shielding champion. And Faker, unlike any other player that we've seen in Pro, pulls out the Cassiopeia against it and absolutely dominates, something that no one else could do.
We've seen so much LeBlanc in this tournament, no Cassiopeia. Again, I mentioned we saw some in Korea, but it wasn't played like that. There was no level 1 dominance, proxying waves at level 1. Faker, again, innovates on champions that we think are already solved and on matchups that on paper, that if you took a panel of analysts, there would not be any consensus that he's making the percentage play, but percentages don't matter when you're Faker.
All right, here's that pressure starting him out from SKT. Turret gonna fall, needs a few more shots. Wolf thinks better of taking yet another turret shot.
He learned from Betty.
Huni might TP in behind if that turns into a fight in the bottom side. He was waiting for quite some time, but it took too long to set up that play, so now he's just gonna run back to lane.
Faker again, 2 levels up on Maple at this stage. Level 13 is a real good spot for Orianna. Faker's about to hit it soon, and he still has blue buff. I mean, it's 5,000 gold up now for SKT. It's going to be 6 soon as this turret falls in the bottom side. And it's strange to watch them play sometimes. It doesn't always look like much, but somehow they're ridiculously far ahead. Bang again onto Betty, getting aggressive. Venom cast goes in. Pick's helping out. Redemption might have been enough to save him. Not in range with the Contaminate, so Betty lives this time. Bang back on there, but he's frontlining with the wild growth on him. As Bang bursts the ultimate Maple though. Oh, the calling. He's not going to get... Oh. Not going to get blocked as Wolf takes a lot of damage on the other side. Bang, looking to get sniped, but Betty does take out Wolf now. Bang going out, Flash Wolf, signs of life, finally.
All the time, a Rumble is pushing, but that's a play that at least gets some confidence into the Flash Wolves. This time, Bang doesn't have summoners up. He used them for the baits in the previous trade. Peanut.
In and at it again, looking to try and make himself the MVP. Zeus ball with the help of Faker, ultimate at the ready. Maple burns his heel to escape. Peanut is a merciful god today.
This game heating up though. MMD trying to teleport in behind Faker and Peanut. It didn't see it, so the Galio will come as a surprise.
Caster and Maple burning damage onto the tower, but here's MMD. Flash on finds 2. There's the Justice Plus knocks up Peanut. Great ult from Huni. Galio also back on the Caster to protect him. Huni just too much pressure on his own.
Yeah, MMD didn't have any more initiation. The ult onto Caster allowed him to tank the equalizer for the longest time. So actually, even though it looked comical was the right move, here's Huni though.
Anything you can do, I can do better. Huni aggressive TP down towards Betty. Got Wolf behind him as well. Betty already going to get taken down. Elan's over the top, and Wolf going to get himself a kill in the game. Betty turned into a critter. Betty autos the trinket, and Wolf.
That was like one of those games where you're behind a counter and trying to chase someone, but unfortunately, for Betty, he couldn't play that Arcane Shift game with Huni since Wolf was the second player who came and just corralled him.
Feels bad, man. That's all I have to say. Feels bad to be Betty. There were no good directions to go. Even the cheeky harpoon over the rift to allow Wolf to pick up the kill that much faster. They'll turn onto the Drake that they've just abandoned this whole game.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a sight to see for SKT, who have been just on every Drake like it's their job, but Peanut finally get a pick. Well, not SKT having a little too much time in their lanes. Maybe, you know, we don't need this right now. We'll take it when the lanes stop winning, and they've been winning for the last 20 minutes or so in this one. I mean, SKT, 2 items on almost every carry. Consistent pressure in all these lanes, and the gold lead growing to almost 7,500 gold. I mean, Huni is out pressuring MMZ, and Ivern's going to come up, but Carter, he's this aggressive player that's the heart of the flash rolls. What can he really do on Ivern in this spot?
Yeah, they don't have that much damage. It would be very dangerous to gank Huni in that situation, but if there is a player that you have a higher chance of killing on SKT, you actually usually think it's Huni because he has such a low jungle proximity percentage. Peanut's usually not next to him, but when you do that, the rest of SKT knows exactly how to play around it.
Bang at it again. Maple gonna get ulted up as Bang just turns it on. Damage is more than enough.
Submarine plays have begun. Don't even need a Shen. Just the Orianna ball enough to launch him into range onto the Lucian. And the thing you have to take away from this game is that also, because the comps are pretty similar, the gold lead means even more. There's no real tools extra in the Flash Wars comp to take out SKTs. There's so little initiation. Speaking of initiation,
Two-man shockwave. Huni flashes over. Walker at the top of it. Then it's going to go straight forward. Huni does go down in the struggle. For the tower, they will get MMD flashes forward, looking for a follow-up, but has to get out pretty quickly.
Bang actually out of mana in that fight, so couldn't really use any spells despite Huni's exuberance to go for that fight.
Exuberance, that's a good one.
Just used it to pick off the Lucian, so SKT, little too much sauce in this one.
I mean, when you put Peanut and Huni into a lineup, you get exuberance, as you put it, chat. And flashing in here, that was optimistic from the side of Huni for sure.
Yeah.
It's a target for a single kill, so I guess on a simple terms you take it, and also
Net positive.
yeah,
Why
net
not
positive.
do it?
Boom.
Easy.
Oh dear.
Maple busy clearing the way back out in mid. As Flash is just struggling to find a foothold. No turrets hurts a lot here at this point. Flash Wolves just have to keep making plays on map that they don't have any vision on. You can see Bang abusing the map advantage SKT had.
He didn't quite have the spray and pray, otherwise he would have picked up a kill, most likely onto Lucian there as well. Just popped up with his newly found red buff, chunked him out, backed away, and you can see on the map, basically SKT is getting access to every
This
CS.
keeps happening.
Yep, Whimsy's on him.
Betty's the next one. He's got Flash. Bang does have his ultimate again. Galio ulti is enough to keep him alive with a bit of help from Ivern's shields, but okay, what's his cooldown right now? 80 seconds? He's back at it again in about a minute.
Lulu makes his closing distance that much better. They take the Galio all threat away. They prep those side waves. SKT hitting on all cylinders right now.
Game 1 ended about 30 minutes. Game 2 looked at about 27. 22 and a half of pass somewhere. SKT might try and make this one the fastest game in a series.
I mean, we're what, 2 hours and 20 minutes into the series. Looks like it could be a very, very early one. They're looking for kills and also this turret.
I mean, Bang is just all the initiation they kind of need at this point. 4 1-on-1. Turret's going to fall down, and again, the consistent dynamic pressure SKT applies got them almost 10,000 gold ahead at 23 minutes.
And we have seen so many different iterations of SKT. So every one of them having Faker. The last few years, Bang and Wolf have been in the finals and victorious with it. But Peanut and Huni are really the ones that have had to integrate within this SKT lineup throughout the year. And at first, it was hard because Bengi and Peanut are completely stylistically different junglers. Huni was not the way Duke was playing for them last year. Maybe a little bit more comparable to Marin in the 2015 SKT, which many consider the best incarnation of SKT. And that's kind of what SKT will be striving towards, is trying to be the best SKT ever.
And you use the word dynamic to describe their decision-making. This new SKT lineup is dynamic. Huni's dynamicism and his dynamic nature was clear 2 years ago on Fnatic playing Vlad and other carries out of meta. Peanut captured the world's imagination at Worlds with his aggression on Olaf and Lee Sin, and they've added dynamic players to complement now the steady hands, Faker, Bang, and Wolf. And the end result is it's still SKT dominant, but some of the games have so many highlights that aren't the controlled, slow games you would previously associate with the name SK Telecom team.
Many things change for this team, but the two constants have been Faker and winning. And SKT are in a very good spot to win this series.
Sorry to come.
Oh, thank you. No, he's also, he's not on the riff.
3 constants, baby.
He'll do. He's pretty good, I guess. 10,000 gold, though, is the lead for SKT. Apologies to Coma once more. SKT are setting up, of course, for the Baron Huni with the TP. Got bottom lane going, and Flash Rolls just need an angle.
Coma holds grudges, too. He's coming for you now.
Oh, no.
You didn't list him in the conscience, so we'll see.
Well, Bang turning on to MMD, which is a rare sight as the supporter and bot lane are trying to solo a tank. Casa redeems back up. Faker did burn his ultimate for that play, but not too much investment. Flash Roll's just so far removed from this series at this stage. And SKT don't even need the objective. They can wait. They got an Ultra Dragon 25 if they really want it, but they might try and make this one a quick one.
Yeah, and team composition-wise, while they did pick things that can scale, they don't necessarily have a good fallback pattern, which is what we'd like to talk about a lot. When you get pushed in as a team composition with incredibly low initiation, there's not many ways you pull yourself back into the game. You can't sneak in and get picks with your low CC composition. You can't 5v5 team fight because the other team is just doing more damage than you. So.
And you can't also ward both objectives. So, okay, they do force themselves out of base long enough to put some wards onto Baron, but then that means that the Drake is free. It's only an Ocean of 25 minutes, which won't be a massive factor. But basically, the fallback pattern for SKT is keep pushing until you're like, wait, those wards have to have timed out by now. The blue trinket's on cooldown, and then the Baron is basically a free objective. As we get some confirmation that not many free objectives, no free lunches against SKT.
No free anything for the most part. As Bang always at it again. Again, just sticking in the mid lane, playing aggressive, happy to turn on even the tankiest member of Flash.
What is he respecting? There isn't initiation. There's no Ash Arrow. There's no Malzahar ultimate. We saw this in the grand final of the LCK. Once he got a QSS against Malzahar and he was walking up to 2 damage dealers being like, well, I got some sick items over here. What you gonna do? He doesn't have to respect anything on the side of Flash.
Asa, Shockwave back in his Maple, though maybe gonna try and turn it back. Barriers up for Faker, does have his flash, barely missed the ultimate. Maple flashed in with the Wild Growth, gonna save him. Wolf there for his team.
Wolf in the clutch, and here's Bang!
Now Bang in a play the counter situation, almost gets one down, opens up on a Sword Art, but Sword Art stays safe. Bang no holds onto his ultimate, and Huni has got the wave all the way to the in-hit turret. The time for Baron is coming very soon for SK Telecom.
Yeah, and Bang is also just hoping for that final item power spike. He's about 400 gold away from Infinity Edge. Once he gets that, I really feel like that's when SKT will turn the corner on this game. We've seen them pick up their first Baron and end the game within 3 minutes in their last 2 matches. I don't see why this game would be any different.
I mean, Betty can't be standing up. He's got no other choices. Flash contaminate from Bang. Hoping for something there.
Well, that was pretty bad. Optimistic isn't the right word. That was just bad. There was no way. With through heal, he would get the kill unless Betty just forgot to heal.
Which has happened in the past. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, betting on players forgetting to heal.
Yeah, it's not an SKT style.
Well, they'll just take the Baron instead. They got more than enough damage for this on Casa with a smite. Might make it happen. It's already too late, though. Polymorph just for good measure. And SKT up 10,000 plus gold with a Baron. I've seen this before.
Yeah.
The game ends within the Baron.
Start the timer. Game 2 ended with 2 minutes left on the Baron buff. Game 1 ended with a minute left on the Baron buff. They're getting the Infinity Edge on Bang at just the right time and expect a powerful push.
Faker doesn't have an ultimate for a little while longer. An uncharacteristic Shockwave miss, but it is really the tiniest of edges that Flash Wolves can gain, and it's not even going to last that much longer. 3 minutes and ticking now for SKT. How much longer will this game go on?
And it does feel like a Shockwave missing buys you time. You know, that's really all you get is you get a cooldown that will come up in 40 seconds. There's no counter pushing, there's no seesaw. It doesn't open up team fighting because they don't have engage. As you say, the smallest of victories as well. Bang's certainly hunting.
One of the nice things about having such a carry-centric comp is that when you're ahead, you just surge ahead violently and can know that even in situations where you shouldn't be able to do stuff, you can still just outplay with all the damage you have.
And If Flash Wolves had this sort of lead, the game honestly would be pretty similar. Sure, SKT is a little bit more trying to get camps and other things against the flow of the game. But with SKT ahead, there's our Nexus turret. Sorry, inhibitor turret.
Bold ultimate from Betty. Being immobile for a second with Faker right there, but they have to clear the waves. Have to do something. Shockwave gonna threaten, MMD gonna look for a taunt. Gets 3 people. Maple gonna turn it back around. Faker low, but he doesn't go down yet with the shield. MMD. Ulti's back on the Maple, but the Shockwave's gonna seal MMD's fate. Huni diving into the backline, trying to take a Carter. Pino grabs a double there with Maple going down. SKT gonna look to end it all.
That's both solo laners down for Flash Wolves. We talked about that timer. They're right on time.
Timer looking good so far, and SKT gonna look for this first Nexus turret. Second in a fall pretty soon here as they TB back in with Huni. Daisy mounting his back opened up, and the swell of pressure has built into a wave that looks, the force of which looks to cleave Flash Wolves straight into. They will sweep the Flash Wolves, they will defend their MSI championship, and they will do what they have always done, achieve victory.
And also removing any doubt of someone maybe having an edge sometimes on SKT, because Flash Wolves were 4-2 against them coming into this. Some people were whispering, oh, maybe Flash Wolves is SKT's kryptonite. No, they are not they are not the kryptonite for SKT here. Total dominance in a 3-0.
David versus Goliath is so often the case when you take to the Rift against SK Telecom T1, and it feels like every tournament, every LCK match day, you need to anoint a new David because Goliath keeps rolling through every contender. Now only the Afrika Freaks, a team that obviously has never gone to an international event, holds a positive win rate against SKT. They're +2, and guess what? LCK Summer's coming soon. They can turn that around as well.
And every international tournament inevitably turns into SKT versus the field. Everyone has their best shot at SKT, and time again, they seem to come up short. That one MSI back in 2015, the last time we have seen them losing here internationally, and they move on to the finals in style.
Well, you can see smiles there on Faker. I believe he's being collected for some chats after the game, but a round of applause, thundering applause at that from the crowd here in Brazil, and it's all deserved.
And it's moments like these where you have to really feel for the players on SKT who haven't had that success before. This will be Huni's first international tournament finals. That is definitely a step forward for him, vindicating him going back to Korea, not necessarily chasing or focusing on other factors like life experience and money potentially, going to SKT to win. Big success. Peanut jumping onto SKT against kind of our expectations.